Hello and welcome to another episode of Space Engineers. We have a glorious morning upon us, as for once we're not mining, because I actually got it all done overnight. You can see the gopher there, well worn. It did a lot of work last night, as there is if we just pop under the ground here, there's a nickel deposit here and a silicon deposit here that I was just greedily gobbling up. I have a bunch of iron, but I lacked those other basic resources, so I should be good for a while. But I do have all of my stuff off at the moment. We take a look at the inventory. What do I got in my cargo? Where's my cargo container? There we go. Beautiful. 67,000 nickel. 41,000 silicon should last me for a while. As you see, the processed, I have only like 900 nickel left. And I got 12,000 silicon wafers, but only 900 nickel. So if I needed many more motors, then I'm going to take a lot of nickel to do that. But I shall get my refineries a-rockin', and those guys shall be kicking along, processing nickel, and taking a heck of a long time to do it, because nickel takes its time. And we are operating on our batteries here. Everything else is on recharge except the Mastodon, who is about, what we got? We got 2.07 out of 3. So we're at 66, 67% battery. We've got 2/3 battery right now. But we do have 100% hydrogen, so there's no worries about that. 13 hours. Our next major goal is the South Pole, because we drove up that mountain in the last episode, which was hilarious, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I know, because I remember when I laid out this route and I was flying around the planet, that what's coming up next is like a great desert. It is essentially the entire way there is just one giant desert. And I could just set this rover to automatically drive the entire way. But that's boring. I was thinking, I kind of want to make a little recon plane. I have no idea how well this is going to work. As I want to script this later. I'd like to make a little recon plane, just for funsies, that is capable of no, I don't need the big hangar door, so I can just go down the ladder. Using these wing blocks here from the aerodynamic mod, having an engine, just a single engine in the back, make it a tiny plane, and get enough solar panels on it, essentially, that it can fly for as long as it has solar power. I think it would be really interesting to have as like a little plane that I bump up the antenna range on it, and I can sort of just, you know, take it off, fly it to like over the terrain and weave back and forth and look at the terrain, and then see where I'm going, use it as the actual scout, and then just land it where I'm going, and then just head towards it. Because then I can be like, oh, I want to land here. And then I have a beacon to show me where to go. And I want to build that. So, what am I going to need for this? I do not need any conveyors. I will need thrusters. I won't need parachutes, though I could put one on as an emergency. I will need batteries. Wheels. Left and right wheels. And I'll need wings. I'll need gyros and remote controls and antennas as well. But we'll just... That's good to get it started. I think I actually will put down this... boop, there. And reverse the piston. And that whole thing can come down. Oh, and of course the first thing we need is a landing gear. Because otherwise, we can't start a new build. So grab things for landing gear. We'll grab some steel plate, just because we can. And we'll grab a battery? Maybe. I'm not sure I'll need much more than a single battery for this. And, oh, beautiful ramp. So take this little landing gear and drop it down. It's a little off on one side, so that's kind of annoying. Come on. There you go. Nice and straight. And we'll just build up a couple things. And then I can put down some scaffolding beside it once I get it figured out a bit better. And I can think about it. So, wing blocks, what do they need? They start with construction components. So I should probably go back and get some of those. Wait, how many do I have? Oh, I have 10. Okay, good. So I can place 10 wings before I need to start to worry about it. Aerodynamic wings can be used to fly 125% efficiency. Then they have 75% efficiency and 100%. And they have different angle to them. So like if I place this one, it goes from like 2 blocks on that end to 1 block here. Or like this one is 1 to 1, and this one is 3 to 1. So I'm thinking we'll use the wing angle 2 because it's highest efficiency. And then we'll stick a wing straight at the back of it. Or maybe we'll go wing angled 2 and then wing angled 1 and then cut it off with a little bit of blocks in between to hold it together. Let us do that. Oh, nope, that's the wrong angle. There and there, so that we can aim down from the top and raise that up a bit more. So, first off, I think battery is going to be the main body of this thing. This way, this way. Because I'm going to need wings on it. I'm also going to need wheels on it. So let's go battery. And honestly, we could just do like two or three batteries on this thing. Because then it's going to have absolutely tons of power. So it can fly for a very long duration. Yeah, let's try this out. So 1, 2, 3. That's going to be its main body. Then in the center of it, we will do wing angle 2, which sort of covers the entire size of the center battery. Ooh, we should do it a little bit forward here. Because then when we do wing angle 2 off the edge of this, it'll be centered. Okay. So then we'll do wing angle 2. And that I need to build out from there. And then go wing angled 1. And that should be enough wingspan, considering a wing 2 and a wing 1. And this little armor block can go. And then I can duplicate that. Or I want to do one more piece of wing. A wing 2, wing 1, and then another wing 1 maybe. Put out another line of blocks back here for structure. And then can't I orient this? There we go. Another piece of wing 1. Ooh. Yeah, that's good. Okay, we'll do that. I haven't built many planes before, so this is going to be a fun little experiment. And we're also going to need this, and this is going to, what, go out another 4 or 5? Probably. Whatever it is. And wing 1 there. And wing 1 there. Fill that in. Oh, that is a good little wingspan for this thing. And on the edges here, on the wheels, we're going to want to put down some wheels, and I don't think I want to do 1x1 wheels because that's really small. It's not going to give this thing any ability to drive over stuff. Okay, so that's a little 3x3 suspension there, and a 3x3 left suspension there, which I think that gives it enough space to it. Like, essentially this thing's just going to be a flying battery in that sense. There's not going to be much else to it. I won't even really put a, because I want to keep it as light as possible, I won't even put a sort of bottom skid plate like I typically do with a rover or something like that. So 3x3 rights. So that'll be able to give it the ability to have nice soft landings. And then up on top here, we're going to need some thrusters pointing backwards, which conveniently can fit right here, right above these wheels. And you don't need many. We might even be able to just get away with two or four, or maybe even just 3. I can put one here in the center on the back, because that looks kind of cool. But we do need 100% chance. We're going to need some gyros for this, because that's going to basically be the only way it's going to be able to fly properly. And we need remote control, so I can just clear off my bar here. I've got everything there, so I need gyros, I need remote control, and then an antenna so I can communicate to it, and then I'll just have the antenna. I don't need a beacon. That'll work out. Oh, but a camera for sure, so I can actually see when I'm flying, and a hinge. So that way I can look down as I'm flying. Because what we'll probably want is a hinged camera there, which will aim down 45 degrees, so I can see the ground as I'm flying over it. And then a front-mounted camera, thinking here, because then that gives me a little bit where I can actually see the front of the rover, so I can get an idea of where it is in space as I'm flying it, and then that one's facing downwards. So that'll be my main flight camera, and this will be my terrain tracking camera. Nice. And then behind that, right here in the center, I will have my remote control section, which is interior plate, so I don't have those yet. So I'll have my remote control right there, which then I'll have my antenna right here. And then I'll do a little bit of armor shaping and make it look cool. But again, I'm trying to keep it light as possible. Yeah. So I'll pick up everything I need for remote control. And an antenna, except some radio components. Let's go dump my inventory into building this thing. I will need to plug this in somehow temporarily. The Mastodon just sort of slightly wiggles. That is a frightening aspect. Don't wiggle like that, Mastodon. It's very scary. It's going to take a while to weld, but that's alright. Remote control, down. And majority of my inventory dumped out here. I'm thinking this little recon plane is basically ready. I just need to build it up, then plug it in so I can charge it up. So, let's give me a minute to build this up. Be right back. Alright, so this thing is pretty much all welded up. We can take control of it here, going into remote access. We've got small grid 2560, which we'll obviously rename. And I want to call this thing... Oh, I have no idea what to call this. It is going to be my plane drone. Plane scout. So I'll just call it plane for now. I'm thinking some bird name. I have the Cyclops, I have the Gopher. What do I call this? I'll think about the name as we go. But we have the ability to figure this thing out. So if we look through the camera facing downwards, I got this at like, what, 30 degrees-ish, and looks like I just barely can see the horizon up at the top. So it's good to be able to know where the horizon is, although I think I should move that up slightly. But I was running into a really weird thing where I would just be like, okay, I want to change this to 25 degrees instead. And then I rotate it, and then the thing just gets all sorts of locked up and screws around and bounces around. It's weird. But it looks like it figured itself out, which is good. Now it's behaving itself while I'm recording. While I'm, like, you know, talking. Alright, so looking through the down camera, we should be able to, yes, just barely see the horizon up at the top, so that way I can make sure I'm flying level, but look down at the actual ground. The other thing I want to do is I want to put some programs on here to manage my atmospheric thrusters. Because there is a little program called Blarg's Ascent Cruise Control thing, which is entirely for, so just name this program Cruise Control. So it should be in here. Blarg's Ascent Cruise Control. You're tired of wasting fuel when you're in a gravity well? What you need is cruise control. So it adjusts your rear thrusters to the lowest possible without losing speed. So you want to go into the flight seat and add the script to the toolbar and then run, on which we can, I believe we can do this with the remote control. We don't need a flight seat itself. And then when you press the button to run it, it will take whatever speed you give it as an argument. So if you type in 90 meters per second, like you type in 90, it will then overclock your thrusters at the appropriate speed to be able to fly at 90 meters a second and no more. So if we're going to need to control the plane first, so that way we're controlling it from that spot. We want to target speed is 95 meters a second. Custom data, you can see in target speed here. So let's leave it at 95 for now. And if you hit run, does this work? These should be rusting? Disabled. Maybe I need to disconnect this first. I don't want this thing to like take off immediately here. Using rear thruster will automatically disengage. Custom data. Status ready. So install the script, sit in the flight seat, and add the script to the toolbar with run. And leave the argument empty. Okay. So leave the argument empty. Let me just toggle that off. We are going to take control of the plane. We will put that in there with run. Leave that argument empty. And what it should be is I press 3. There, the thrusters are kicking on. We have 29 minutes of flight, and it's trying its darndest to get this thing to fly at 95 meters per second. And then you can use that as a cruise control for your plane. So this thing has 24 minutes of flight as it is now. We can just go for a quick test flight as soon as I take this off of its construction beam here. That's all good. That plane is ready. I will jump in here, which will give me all of the power I need. There we go. Just need a little bit of power so we can go properly jump into the Mastodon's control system. So let's go make sure that my antenna on the Mastodon here, we're set up at 5K. We could increase this to 10,000, so that way we don't lose this plane, which would be very nice. We can take control of the plane, and for its antenna, we'll do the same. Change it up to 10,000. And that's looking forward. This is looking down into the ground. We can start driving around, but when we want to, we just press 3. And the thrusters will kick on. And once we have enough speed, we can take off. And you can see there, they're attempting to keep us at 95 meters a second as we pull maneuvers and fly around with our little drone here. So we're going to fly right over the Mastodon here. The turning you kind of need to bank as well. And we can go for a nice little flight. Once you get up to speed, it doesn't take as much power. You can see 13 hours of flight, even with just freshly built batteries, flying this direction. Nice. And we have a nice little scout plane. So I'm going to go bring this in for a quick landing. We're going to want to disengage the thrusters. Start bringing us down towards some terrain here. Kill some speed by making a big bank. And then I want to turn around one more time, killing the speed. And come on in for a nice landing. See our shadow there as we're coming in. Hopefully land nice and safely. That was awesome. I am really happy with how that turned out. So this little craft here, we can use as a long-range scout now. And it can just go and do its thing. So I need to get a way to charge it. And I think because it doesn't really use that much power, I should be able to get away with just like charging it up once and then letting it sit around, because it's got, what does it have right now for power? It's got 8 hours sitting there with fresh batteries. So if it's fully charged, it probably has several days sitting there, and then I can just use that. So I want a connector for the Mastodon and a connector for it, and then I'll just throw a connector down. I mean, it could be pretty clangy, but I could just throw a connector on the side of this ramp just to get this thing plugged in and to slurp up some battery power. Like right here. Let me just reverse this piston. Alternatively, I could just drop down a block, but this is the most clangy, so it's the most fun. And then get on this thing and take it for a little drive. Drive it on over. And then slap. Probably need to put a couple blocks. Wow, that camera. That hinge does not like me. It is like bouncing in and out like crazy. And we'll slap a connector right there. And then just gotta wiggle this into position. Come on. Oh, it did connect it. Okay, here we go. So we'll lock that up. And we'll proceed to clang a whole bunch. That's okay. We just need to get these batteries here onto recharge. Oh, these thrusters are on. Oh, shit. Yeah, we should turn that off. Let's see here. I want to go to remote control for this thing. Control it from there, turn those thrusters off, and then go to the batteries locally and get those all going on recharge. Yeah, there we go. Now, this thing's slurping up power from the base. Excellent. Once that's fully charged, I should be able to scout the entire way to the South Pole, and I can boost my antenna range up to like the 20-ish kilometers that I'll need. Fly the entire way there, land it, and then drive and meet it. And that could be sort of like my strategy from now on. Always boost my way to the next spot. And then, sorry, don't boost it. Fly this thing to the next location or whatever I'm going to be scouting around, and then leave it there and then drive to it, and it'll just be sitting there parked. But let's make sure. Okay, what can I do for solar here? Oh, dude, I got small thing turbines. That's hilarious. Solar, I don't think is going to fit on this thing just because it's massive. Which is too bad. They had smaller solar strips or whatever, that'd be kind of nice. Wind turbine is going to be silly because it's not going to be locked to the ground. And any other thing would be a reactor? I could. I'm not really using the uranium on the Mastodon at all. I could give it to this, and it could be its emergency power supply. It'd be a little reactor on it. Put like a reactor in each wing sort of thing. Or yeah, there's not enough space for an engine and a tank because that's just bad power density. Yeah, I think after these are fully charged up, it's going to be fine. And then I just need to recharge it every so often. That'll work out. Look at that. We made a little scout drone. And, ooh, I have an idea. I could take it here. And I could paint it black. That's edge of that does not paint for some reason. And I could call it... can I access its remote control, please? This is the Raven. Because it is black. There we go. We have the Raven. Our little scout drone thingy. Ready to go fly off towards the South Pole, which we will do in the next episode. We'll fly this to the South Pole, and then we'll, more than likely, considering I already know that there's a big desert between here and there, just set the Mastodon on cruise control, let it drive the desert itself, and then do some upgrades on the Mastodon. Because what do I want to do? There is... I need to start fleshing out this back section. Filling up these walls here under the tanks, because there's no supports underneath those tanks, which is kind of rickety and silly. So fill out this garage, start building up the back end, and start doing something more down here. I need a decorative area, which will be like right here, which will be like my cabin, my living quarters, a kitchen, and a bed and that kind of stuff. Because I haven't had a bed this entire time. I've just been sleeping in my little command chair here, which I'll need to expand this command room. Maybe add some chairs here, add some LCDs on each of these walls to show off what's happening. Just make this area prettier. But that will be as we are coasting through the desert in the next episode. But for now, thanks for watching, and good hunting out there, fellow space engineers. That little Raven down there at the bottom. Oh god. No, there you go. Had to get a death in for this episode. I just had to.